equilateral, trapezoid, isosceles, tetrahedron.
I've never seen a mind like the one your daughter has. You have to see what she becomes.
When I told Donna that I really thought this was a screenplay that I'd been born to write, she sort of laughed at me, and then when I told her my history, she said, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe this is the right script for you, because I grew up by Cape Canaveral, so I used to go play on the weekends at the base and at NASA, and I used to play on the Mercury capsule. They had the original one out on the lawn, and I was terrified of pushing the buttons because I thought I'd launch into space, but my dad explained I'd be just fine. So it was great to get to pull all of that into this script.
Catherine, we all gonna end up unemployed riding around in this pile of junk.
You're welcome to walk the 16 miles.
Or sit in the back of the bus.
Kiss me up.
You have identification on it?
We're just on our way to work at NASA, sir.
I had no idea they hired.
There are quite a few women working in the space program.
There was a huge span of time, I mean, starting from NACA, you know, before World War II, all the way, you know, up to the present day. And I immediately knew that I wanted to follow the women's stories, that this is just something that hadn't been told before. And of course, Katherine Johnson was amazing, but what was important to her and me was that it wasn't just about her, but it was about all of these women, because so many worked at NASA, so to just tell one of them. And I wanted to show female friendship. I wanted to show them helping each other to get ahead. I wanted to show them, you know, building each other up. And so I immediately, when I was reading, I pretty much read about Dorothy, Catherine, and Mary, and those three stuck out to me because I immediately knew the arc of their stories.
You know what we're doing here? We're putting a human on top of a missile, shooting him into space, and it's never been done before. I need a mathematician that can look beyond the numbers. Math that doesn't yet exist. Before the Russians plant a flag on the damn moon.
You have someone?
Running what I'm playing.
Catherine's the gal for that. She can handle any numbers you put in front of her.
Don't embarrass me.
This wasn't emptied last night?
I'm sorry, I'm not the...
I did a lot of research. I mean, I read a lot of books from the astronauts themselves so I could understand what they were feeling. I did a lot of research on the math that it took to get up there. And then Margot sent me all of her raw material. So I read everything from, you know, a housing census on the segregated communities that they lived in to personal interviews from people they worked with. And I would just find like one sentence where, you know, they didn't really feel sexism or oppression as much as we look back now and see it. At the time, they were all just so positive, but there would just be a line where it said, I looked for the bathroom and they laughed at me because there was no colored one. And I would just write it down. I just found it in a random interview and I thought, okay, I can build an entire set piece off of that moment. Or, you know, the white computers and how they had to be in a different cafeteria. And I thought, okay, well, everything has to take place there. So I would just find one little sentence and build it from there. But yes, it was hundreds and hundreds of pages of research.
That Colonel Jim is a tall glass of water.
He's coming over.
Now, why would he be doing that?
Cause Mary's waving at me.
No!
Dorothy, slice of pie?
I love one.
You already have a slice of pie, do it.
Oh, because of the war, there was this feeling of we just chip in wherever we're needed. And they didn't analyze it too much of I want a career or I want to be super successful. It was just I'm going to do what needs to be done. And I think that was a very different mentality in a way. You know, they weren't trying to make a statement. They were just trying to fill the void. And these three women, I think, especially at NASA, the common goal to get up in space was enough to unite everybody there irregardless. And you feel that today at NASA when you walk onto the campus. It's like political affiliations fall away, race falls away, gender falls away to a certain extent because everybody just wants the mission to be a success. And that's magical, and we don't have that as much anymore.
You're a computer at NASA. They let women handle that sort of...
Yes, it's an uphill battle.
Yes, they let women do some things at NASA, Mr. Johnson. And it's not because we wear skirts. It's because we wear glasses.
Catherine was a genius. And so when I was first hired, Dorothy said, well, how are you going to make math interesting? How are you going to make that fun to watch? And I just described a few scenes, and one of them was just her writing so fast while you're waiting for Glenn to get up to space. And another that hit me was the chalkboard scene. And she's just doing all these calculations and nobody's paying her any mind, or so we think. And when she leaves the room, slowly all the men start to swarm to that chalkboard. And in that moment, just by seeing their reaction, you realize, oh, she's a genius.
In 14 days, astronauts will be here for training. Everything we do can matter to their wives, to their children. I believe it's going to matter to the whole damn country.
My gals are ready. We can do the work.
We need to remember these people that made our history come to life that aren't in our history books. And I think if you look at the United States today, we're actually running out of people to fill technology jobs. They say in 10 years that Google and all the other tech companies are going to have a huge shortage of workers. And so they need women, they need diverse people to start joining in and coming. And so I've talked a lot with Google. I've even talked a lot with the White House. It's a little bit of pressure that this movie is supposed to, change our economy. It's a little bit of pressure, but I hope it does. And I think we need to remind each other that science is amazing. And what we've done in this country in the past is amazing, and we can keep doing that.
It's good to know NASA hadn't given up on good old-fashioned brain power.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let me ask you, if you were a white male, would you wish to be an engineer?
I wouldn't have to. I'd already be one.
I just think we need to show that the stereotype of what a mathematician or a scientist looks like, it doesn't have to be that. And in truth, they're very well-rounded people that are dancers and singers and artists as well. And so I agree with Katherine Johnson. I hope that everybody watches this movie and sort of falls in love with math and science.